Here I am in the final stages of converting my novel, The Draper Catalog, into an audiobook. It's a pretty labor-intensive process, but I have a good microphone, great software in Audacity, and the time. And for the most part, it's fun, though challenging. So this next little section shows you what a recording looks like visually, and what I'm paying attention to when I come to edit it. This particular example is about as perfect as I can get it. It's my voice without any distortions and cracks and crackles and nothing too loud, nothing too soft. But it takes some work to get passages at just this right level.
Chapter 37. More Things in Heaven and Earth. The snow continued to fall overnight, and all through the next day. A whole universe of it. Layer after layer of white, silently carpeting every contour, softening it, stealthily erasing all traces of bird baths, flower beds, and any suggestion of summer. Mesmerized, Hattie looked out the window. Emily sat on the carpet playing with Lego blocks. Hattie's mother tiptoed into the room. "Ambrose is here."
So typically what I'll do is look at a section of audio that I recorded and listen very carefully, hear any distortions or sections that were too loud or too soft, and then zero in on the exact point where it needs to be fixed. So in this case, I've identified a little part in my recording where there was a little click. It wasn't anything major, but it still would be distracting to a listener. So I magnified this section. It's a very small fraction of a second. Nevertheless, it was something I wanted to get rid of. It's simply a matter of highlighting it and then deleting it. Now here we have an all too familiar example of when I'm using a blending sound such as GL or BL or something like that, and it causes a necessary sort of duplicate click at the beginning of that blend. So I do that a lot, and so I'm trying to get rid of those extra sounds. Now here you can see visually this is a little raggedy section, and that's how my voice sounds at this point. I don't smoothly glide into this next sound, and so I can simply eliminate that part of the speech. And since it's such a small fraction of a second, a listener wouldn't even notice that it was missing. And it sounds a lot better without. In this next section, I'm zeroing in on one of those S sounds. Very often, audio performers of any kind, their S's will come out way too harsh and too loud. And so often it's just a matter of decreasing the volume radically, and it sounds a lot easier to the ear. Coming from a background as a stage actor, I'm used to having a wide range of dynamics, soft and loud and everything in between, but you can't quite get away with that as a voice actor. You have to keep your level pretty even throughout, for a much narrower range. So there are times when I'm too soft, and this would be one of them. So here my job would be to increase the volume of this section to match more the rest of the recording. And here's an example where I have a whole section that's really too loud. It can't go near the edges of this rectangle. That's too loud. It's going to cause distortion and not be good to the listener's ear. I have to definitely decrease the volume here, make those lines smaller, nearer the middle. And finally, when I'm near the end of my editing, I have to check to make sure the levels are within the range that will be acceptable by Audible, and therefore I'm looking for this magical number between -18 and -23. And if I hit it, then I know it's going to be acceptable. So altogether, my recordings would make up about 10 hours of listening. And in my experience, it seems to take about 1 hour to properly edit 5 minutes of recording, to get rid of all the inconsistencies, clicks, mistakes, etc., to make it really pleasing to the ear. So 1 hour per 5 minutes, that make 120 hours of work to get this novel converted to an audiobook that I'm pleased with. Let's say I could pay myself at the rate of $25 an hour, which I think is rather modest. That would be $3,000 worth of work. That gives you a bit of the insight of how I spend my time when I'm not actually writing. And finally, I'd just like to remind you that the Draper Catalog is available as a print book, both in hard and soft cover. and very shortly will be available on Audible as an audiobook. So I hope you will check it out and enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed making it.